Merry Christmas! And joy to the world. I want you all to know how very happy and grateful the Back family is to be here to share this beautiful Christmas night with all of you here in Lake Forest. I was sitting at my desk pondering our great Christmas celebration and what I might say tonight. My son Joshua sat down next to me and said, "So, Dad, what are you going to preach about?" And I thought, what would be cool? I was thinking about something like preaching about heavenly rest and Star Wars, because there's a big difference. This did pique his interest. The Rise of Skywalker opened on Friday, and the latest Star Wars epic is filling the youthful universe. If there is a tween in your life, you, like me, must let go of all the trivia of the season and fulfill your duty as an intergalactic citizen and go see the film. For 7 years, I served a wonderful congregation that was called the Church of the Heavenly Rest. A fascinating name. Some say that the name was given because they hired preachers that helped them to sleep. I never believed that, but I often accomplished it. In any event, during my years there, I often deeply pondered the nature of the meaning of heavenly rest. These words of the modern English poet and priest Malcolm Guite helped me feel the meaning of heavenly peace on earth. O come and be our God with us, and make a womb of all this wounded world. O heart of heaven beating in the earth, O tiny hope within our hopelessness, come to be born, to bear us to our birth, to touch a dying world with new made hands, and make these rags of time our swaddling bands. Surely, Christmas is an invitation to listen and hear the heart of heaven beating in the earth, beating in baby Jesus. That is what turns the wounded world into a womb of heavenly peace. I am awakened anew to pondering the relationship between an ever more popular Star Wars and an ever more rare heavenly peace. Over many years, I have enjoyed the Star Wars franchise and admired the quality of the mind and souls that have been expressed in the creation of such great characters and storylines. As a preacher, I ponder, what ingenious creator could create film screenwriters like George Lucas and directors like J.J. Abrams, whose power and intelligence and imagination could create an entire Star Wars cosmos? It seems like a fantastic extraterrestrial accomplishment. Tonight, Christians all over the world gather together to ponder a human baby. Ponder that baby as a monk might ponder a holy icon, searching in hope of seeing an amazing extraterrestrial truth. Every baby is filled with spiritual intelligence. It listens, it looks, it searches its world for a loving response. It is completely helpless, and it can only trust that its wants, its needs, its cries will be heard. The baby quite literally lives on faith and hope that another mysterious presence will respond to it. Star Wars takes place in an immensity of a dark universe where everything is scattered and light years apart, where hostility and violence are sudden, common, and dramatic. The emotional dynamics of Star Wars sagas are as realistic as the last cable news broadcast that you watched. For many, the movie franchise seems more consistent with the frenetic, conflicted, and violent world presented to us daily. Stay tuned. Perhaps one day you might hear a new liturgical vision. May the Force be with you, and also with you. This could happen. Growing up in a Star Wars era, growing up with a name like Luke in a Star Wars era, I and others have been routinely disappointed by my failure to make anything really happen by the Force. I have never been able to move objects across the room or make people change their minds. Not with some superior mental force, anyway. No matter how creative we are, we humans have very real limitations. The actual death of Carrie Fisher, who played Princess Leia in 2016, left a troubling vacancy. The writers felt that they could not leave the arc of her life so painfully incomplete, but forcing a digitized recreation of Princess Leia promised to be a lame desecration of Fisher. In the end, they decided to rework previous film cuts into another storyline, but that seems more like a rerun than it does a resurrection. Bishop Jeff, our bishop, tells a story about a 6-year-old boy who was having bad dreams. His father rushes into his bedroom, reassuring him and telling him, "It's okay, God is with you." And through the sobs, this little boy says, "I know God's with me, but I need some skin." Human beings have always needed some real skin, real presence, really near. Tonight we celebrate that we received someone who would really be here in the dark, really be here with us, even though the bad news, the terrible human experiences that include rejection, betrayal, trial, abuse, torture, crucifixion, and death, God's got skin in that game. Christmas presents us with the power of God made perfect in the tender weakness of a baby. The power of the baby is not force, either muscular or mental force. It is the power of love. It is the power of generative creativity in body, mind, and soul. And it is the power to grow up and to grow into the likeness of our Creator. Christmas tells the story of how God makes Christ's presence accessible to human presence. And the peace and joy of Christmas are being perpetually retold. They are as near and as realistic as the presence of the nearest newborn. When spotted in public, newborns are usually surrounded by creche full of adoring humans. They are much more realistic than the TV screen, but rarely taken seriously as a primal source of body and soul, truth and peace. Now, the great medieval media mogul, Francis of Assisi, staged the first living Christmas pageant in 1223. Francis realized how humanity ignored the nearest, dearest, purest, tenderest, truest, and most intimate realities, always most obvious at birth and at death. On this past Sunday, the St. Francis Creche production was restaged here at Holy Spirit and brought to life right here in our wonderful Christmas pageant. Now, at the pageant, just about everything in the production was artificial. The only reality was the real presence of the participants. Each and every one of them a unique creation. Each, following the example of their Lord, was putting on his or her own skin and putting it into the play. This was not a mere rerun. This was a recreation. If we are yearning to be deeply spiritual, if we are yearning to be in touch with the universe, then we need to see Christmas as an opportunity to grow in soul awareness. What does it mean to hold a tender, accessible, lovable, infinitely simple soul in the presence of God? Ponder your soul, the likeness of your soul, to God's baby, and you will feel great hope. God is already at work under your skin, growing you up, not for perpetual reruns, but for an entirely new universe called the Kingdom of Heaven. Go, tell it on the mountain, and may God bless us, each and every one. Amen.
Amen.